Hola a todos, yo soy Javier Espinosa y estamos cubriendo la edición número 65 del Festival Internacional de San Francisco para Javi Temuco. En esta ocasión nos acompaña la directora, guionista, editora y creadora del cortometraje de animación mixta Mama Has a Moustache. Nos acompaña Sally Rubin. Sally, thanks for coming with us.
Hi, great to be here.
Thank you so much. Can you tell us about the inspiration for the short film?
Sure. So the film was inspired, I would say there's many different inspirations for the film, but probably the biggest one is just noticing over these past few years, more and more people, especially younger people, college students, high school students, even some elementary school age students, beginning to identify as something outside of the traditional gender binary. So not just girls or boys, but what we think of as non-binary, going by they, the use of the pronoun they becoming more and more popular. And I really just became interested to talk to young people and find out about when this, how young kids really were when they started to think about these issues and what they thought about gender and parenting and, just kind of uncover what was going on there.
Okay. Can you tell us about the cast? Who are they?
Sure. So there's 12 kids in the movie, friends and family of my own mostly, and my 12-year-old daughter. Some of the kids are, themselves either trans or non-binary. Some of them are cisgender oriented. Some of them are kids of parents who identify as either trans or non-binary. And some of them are sort of what we call, just from sort of traditional families. So it's really a whole mix. Most of them I knew already before making the film, and then others are folks that I met online through doing research, joining social media groups, just kind of putting myself out there.
So they were coming along as you were already conducting interviews.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I did probably 6 or 7 of the core interviews. Then I went and I really wanted to kind of diversify the sort of sample set of kids that I was talking with. So I looked for kids from different backgrounds, different familial makeups, different racial and ethnic backgrounds, rural versus urban, kids from the East Coast, West Coast of the United States. I really tried to diversify as much as I could, actually.
Okay. Can you tell us about the development? So you started with this idea and then you presented and like this whole process until we can see it on the show.
Sure. Well, I always had the idea, going back to when my daughter was about 2 years old, she sort of at one point laughed and said, "Mama has a mustache." And, I thought to myself, God, that is such a good name for a movie. I wonder if I could figure out how to make a movie that would fit that name, because that is such a great title. So I was kind of thinking already about making a film that was sort of about gender identity and parenting outside of the traditional norm. And I've always been interested in kids. I definitely, like I said, I've got my 7-year-old daughter. She herself says things that are very funny and all over the map. And I really was interested to hear from her and her, her colleagues and friends about what they thought about all these issues. So I really sort of started a series of conversations, wrote out some questions, reached out to the parents of these kids, did the interviews, then edited those interviews down to about a 10-minute sort of radio cut, audio only. Then took that to my animator and incredible director of animation, Max Strebel, who lives in Berlin. He's really fabulous. And together, Max and I worked for about 8 months or so to put together what you see in the movie. And then I worked with my fabulous composers to sort of put music and sound design in there. It was a pretty fast and relatively, I'd say, very fun process. And, because it was COVID, I didn't do any live action filming. I had thought that I would film some scenes, but with COVID, I obviously just couldn't do that. So the pandemic kind of dictated this being a fully animated movie.
And regarding the animation, it was always like in your mind that this would be like this kind of mixed kind of animation, or you were thinking about another type of process during this development?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this clip art, mixed media, working in archival footage. I really wanted to sort of call up different times in America's history and sort of what gender had been like then, what perceptions of gender were, and kind of mash all that up, deconstruct it, and sort of recreate something new. That was sort of the idea behind using those old archival clips.
And tell me a little something about the reception, because the short film has been showed around several festivals with different kind of people, different kind of festivals per se. So, how the people been reacting to this short film?
Well, generally the film's been very well received. You know, this is obviously a controversial topic right now.
How do you think this short film helps the conversation about youth and gender identity?
It's a very good question. You know, I never set out when I make a film to sort of tell anybody how to think or feel. I mean, to me, it's much more interesting to ask questions. Go through some sort of definitely try to do film. I hope the fact 10 minutes will help you know, sort of engage conversation and dialogue around the issues in the film.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm having
no problem.
The worst internet day here today.
No problem. I only talked a little bit because I wasn't sure if you were still there, so I kind of wound down.
Thank you. Yeah, I changed my internet provider right now, so
okay.
This would be better this time. So I will ask again.
Okay, no problem.
How do you think this short film helps the conversation about youth and gender identity?
Well, I think that, you know, I hope that what the film does, because it's short, it's funny, it's playful, it's not preachy, doesn't tell you how to feel, it just explores the issue through these kids' voices. I hope it can really just open up conversation and spark dialogue around these issues in a way that is not so heavy. You know, and I also hope that it will expose people to the fact that kids are already thinking about their own gender identity. You don't have to protect them from doing it. They're already doing it. They're going to do it whether or not we provide a forum for it. So I hope it shows that kids are able to do it in a fun and playful way, and it's actually very freeing for them rather than limiting, to be able to think about their own gender identity and where they fall on the gender spectrum and how they feel on any given day.
Recently, Netflix debuted a new show, Heartstopper, and it's about gender identity in a very positive light. So I thought this also helps the conversation, because it's something that we should be aware of. Yeah,
aware of, and hopefully not just, you know, tolerate, but hopefully encourage. I mean, if kids aren't going to learn to talk about issues, tricky issues like gender identity in the context of our schools with people that they respect and trust, their teachers, their peers, where are these conversations going to happen, you know? So I hope that people will learn from the film that talking about gender identity doesn't have to be threatening. And, you know, again, the kids can be actually freed up by this conversation, not further put into more boxes, especially here in 2022. I mean, isn't that what we need to be doing at this point?
Yeah, I was, when people talks about like we are in 2022, I remember the Jetsons, because at this time and age, we should be like on our spaceships and doing another kind of stuff, and we are not there.
We're not there. We're not on time traveling spaceship robots that serve us our every meal. We are very far from it.
Yeah, it was a faraway future, but we are approaching it, and that's not happening right now.
That's a very good question. The funny thing about the Jetsons, I think it was their gender roles were so traditional. Even though they had spaceships, mom stayed at home, dad worked. There was not a lot of breaking out of that. it was technology that was futuristic, not gender identity.
Something to discuss.
Yeah,
really,
for sure.
Really. What's next for your short film?
Well, I think that hopefully do some more festivals. I'm going to Mountain Film with the film in a couple of weeks, going out to Telluride. Really excited for that. And the film right now is being used at the San Francisco International Film Festival in classrooms. There's this really terrific partnership that fest has with local schools. So classrooms are doing screenings. Then I've lined up some conferences and just trying to get the film out there as much as possible so that people can use it as a tool and open up conversation around it.
Let's hope so. Because it is a main issue.
Yeah, more and more each day, the headlines are just covered with this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Can you, to finish the interview, can you tell me or make like an invitation for people to see it?
Absolutely. I would love for people to see Mama Has a Mustache. The best way, it's not streaming available online right now. Hopefully it eventually will be. The best way to see it for now is either to catch it at one of these upcoming festivals, either San Francisco International Film Fest, catch it at the virtual platform for the fest online, or Mountain Film coming up. I think there will also be virtual screenings at Mountain Film at the end of May. Or just email me. You can find my contact on the website, which is mamahasamustache.com. Perfect.
Sally, thank you so much for meeting with me and having this wonderful interview. And I hope for the best for this short film and for the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.